This is a dish I love to make because it's easy. Cornbread. We love cornbread because it's one of those fabulous comfort foods that is so good, but this one has pumpkin in it. So I love to serve this with chili, with stews, like a rich beef stew, because it adds a little sweetness. It's delicious. So one more sip of coffee. And let's get started. All right, first of all, let's go ahead and mix our dry ingredients. So I'm gonna start with, there's a lot of measurements going on. I'm not gonna pretend to say them all out loud. Just go to our website and you'll be able to find them. Because when I try and memorize all these, I just mess it up. So just go to our website and you'll be able to find all of it. But we're gonna start with a little flour. And then I'm also gonna do, of course, it's a cornbread. So I'm doing a yellow cornmeal. You can use white as well, whatever kind of cornmeal you like to use. Now we're gonna add baking powder and baking soda. Cornbread's always really heavy. Baking powder, powder puffs. Baking soda, soda spreads. So I want it to smooth out and spread. I want it to puff up and get a little bit lighter. So I'm doing both. Both are going in. I'm gonna do a good teaspoon of salt in here. You know me, I'm gonna do a rounded teaspoon. I want it, I don't know, I just like a salty, yummy. And the pumpkin's gonna add some sweetness, and I want that kind of balance of sweet and salty. We've got some cinnamon, we've got some ginger, we've got some clove, and we're gonna give this a good whisk. Those are your dry ingredients, probably all the stuff you have sitting in your pantry. If you just happen to not have some of those spices, don't stress about it. You can always just add a little bit of pumpkin pie spice in here as well, which has all those spices in it. Last week, I think it was last week, where Abby was on and she made her pumpkin spice coffee creamer, and she showed you how to make a homemade pumpkin spice. So if you find that recipe, she showed you how to make a homemade pumpkin pie spice. Now let's do our wet ingredients. I'm gonna go ahead and do, of course, some packed pumpkin. Please don't grab the pumpkin pie filling, because the same person who puts that right next to the pumpkin pie, or the pumpkin pie filling next to the pumpkin puree, is the same person that puts parsley and cilantro next to each other. They're mad at us. I don't know why they do that, but make sure it says the pumpkin puree on there and not the pie filling. It doesn't go well in this. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in some sour cream or Greek yogurt. I've done both. Both work great. I was telling Sarah, we used to make this at Gather in large quantities, large pans this big, and we'd cube them up and use them for croutons, for salads, or like a roasted squash soup or something like that. So a crispy crumble of this on top of things is delicious. All right, ooh, I need to melt down some butter. Give me one moment here. We'll start there. And let's go ahead and add in half a cup of brown sugar. And I'm actually putting this in the wet ingredients. And because brown sugar, especially this time of year, it gets dry in the house, tends to get a little kind of sticky. I crumble it with I got some clean hands here, I crumble it with my fingers just to make sure we don't get any big chunks. All right, it's pretty good down here. But I like to add that in and let it kind of meld in and into all the wet ingredients and soften up just a little bit. And then I'm also gonna add in 2 eggs. There we go, 1. All right, and I'm gonna switch to a whisk while we wait for that butter to melt. Let's get rid of that. Let me check on this real quick. How you doing, friend? Let's go a little bit more. All right, so let me start getting these ingredients whisked together. Make sure that brown sugar really melds in nicely. That's gonna add a really beautiful sweetness to this because of those molasses flavors in the brown sugar. Love that. All right, also we got a little bit of butter here. Unsalted, of course, because we added a full teaspoon of salt in here. Unsalted, 100% of the time, all the time, no matter what, no matter how much Abby wants to fight me on that. All right, so now just go ahead and get that in there. And you're gonna end up with this nice, smooth batter here. The sugar looks like it's dissolved a little bit in the wet ingredients. Perfect. Let me clear the decks here for a moment. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and add in I kind of make a little well in the middle here. And we're gonna add in our pumpkin mixture here, our pumpkin brown sugar butter mixture, right into the dry ingredients. And you've easily doubled, by the way, in a 9x13. Or you can make it, a lot of times I just make it in a little 8x8, but today I was in a cast iron skillet mood. You know how much I love cast iron skillet baking. I think it develops such a beautiful crunch. So we have to make a little bit of a spiced butter to go with this. It would be silly if we didn't. So While I'm mixing this up, in my mixer, I've got some unsalted butter, a stick, and I'm gonna add in, using every spatula we own today, Sarah, I'm gonna add in honey, I'm gonna add in cinnamon, I'm gonna add in just a dash of vanilla, and then we use unsalted butter because we don't want anyone else seasoning our food. Let's go ahead and season that up ourselves. So I do a full teaspoon of salt in there. Salt and sweet, we want that balance. Let that do its thing. All right, so now I'm just gently bringing this together. Make sure you get all, I'm very gentle with it, but make sure you're getting all that dry good stuff on the bottom. But once you see no more flour streaks, you're good. So like I said, an 8x8 is great. I'm gonna go ahead and do cast iron today. Pour it right in. You're gonna bake this at 425 degrees. Check it after 25 minutes with the toothpick test. But I think ours went closer to 30 today. Let me show you what that looks like. First, let's check on our butter here. Do a little scrape of the bowl and do one more. I kind of like to whip it around until it's nice and fluffy. Let's go for one more second here on this. And let me show you what this looks like. It just came out warm out of the oven. So this is what it's gonna be lightly puffed. It's gonna be a darker color. Don't let that alarm you. That's the pumpkin and the cinnamon in there. And we're gonna plate this up beautifully. Obviously, Sarah's gonna make this look great for a picture, but let me show you the color of this butter. Bam, look at that. It's just so beautifully spiced and sweet and vanilla-y. You can use that vanilla bean paste I made you buy a couple months ago that you need to have in your fridge. And it is delicious together. I highly recommend this, and it comes together in no time. Fabulous side dish.